Hey, everyone out there. Barbara Hort with I Am This Woman. And if you're like, what is I Am This Woman? And you have not seen it, well, you're in for a treat because we always have guests on every week. Show number 28. We've been doing this since the beginning of the year. And basically, I Am This Woman is about supporting women and coming on to tell their stories. And we are women, we know women, and we celebrate women. And today, our guest is Lorie Mccoy. So happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And let me tell you guys a little bit about Lorie. She is the founder and owner of the Orchid Nest, and it's a pregnancy center in Delray Beach. She is a birth doula and has attended over 1,500 births. God bless you, woman. She's also a hypnobirthing childbirth educator, a hypnobirthing fertility practitioner, and a trainer for the Hypnobirthing Institute. She's created an aromatherapy line, which she sells at the Orchid Nest, which I've had some of that, and it's really, really good, by the way. And she's here to discuss doulas, educating moms, knowing what questions to ask, having your voice heard, and with everything with Black Lives Matter, with Black women being pregnant, what they need to know. And so I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's talk because your list, I mean, first of all, 1,500 births, which is incredible. And I remember my son is going to be 24 in September. I didn't know all of this, that you can have this person or that person. I just went to the doctors and there it was. So
Yep.
Let's start talking about that first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, women don't know what they don't know, and things have changed a lot. I mean, since women have more access to information now than I had when I was pregnant, than you probably had, when you were having your son. And so the more educated women are, the more positive birth experiences they typically have, because they start to really figure out what kind of birth do they want, what do they not want, who would be the provider that how would they choose the right provider for that particular birth, and doulas, and how doulas kind of play into that. Like when I first became a doula in 1999, I felt like I spent my entire life explaining what a doula is. It's like, you're a what? Like a what? And I was just constantly, now it's on mainstream TV. It's like everyone knows what it is. Not everyone has one or chooses one, but they're familiar with the word and what it is. So I feel like new doulas coming on now, they don't have to explain what they do. Everyone knows the word now.
But I would love for you to explain it, because as much as everyone knows it, like I think about it and I think I know it, but share with us what a doula is.
A lot of people are like, what's the difference between a doula and a midwife? We get that. That's the one question we get. So a doula is someone who provides non-medical care. So we provide education, emotional and physical support for mom and her partner. We labor with them at home before going to the hospital if they're choosing a hospital birth. We're there for them in the early postpartum time if they need help with breastfeeding or emotional support. So we're that piece that doesn't meld into the medical side. Like they have their medical provider who's responsible for the health and well-being of mom and baby, but we're there for the mental and physical support of moms. And it's a missing piece in our birth culture.
I can imagine. I'm thinking about this, and I had a really amazing midwife, right? But I could imagine having that piece of it with everything that's going on, the questions. When I was a first mom, I was like, what the heck is happening? What's going on? So I love the fact that you do this, but I was looking at your website. I mean, you're not like, you guys are, you have all of these doulas on there. You have, all these people. It is incredible because you don't just offer that service at the Orchid Nest. You are so well-rounded. Share with us like all the different things that you guys have.
That we do. So at the Orchid Nest, we're what I would call like a pregnancy education center. So beyond like the labor support that we offer and postpartum support, we offer all kinds of classes. We offer labor tub rentals. We do placenta encapsulation. We're the placenta. I know.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Look, I was like this. I was like,
I know. Yeah, you're gonna eat your placenta. Yep, that's what's out. But it's become really, again, I can thank TV for that because celebrities are eating their placentas now. So it's become this very mainstream practice, and hospitals have gotten on board. They have the release form for it now. It's not considered weird, and So we provide that that's more for hormonal replacement for mom, but for their like physical recovery from birth. Yeah, there's yoga, massages, like basically anything that a mom could need just to provide like really support during the pregnancy and then into early motherhood. And we were almost sad when they reached this like beyond early motherhood, like you have to get pregnant again so you can come back to the nest. We develop these lifelong relationships with most of our clients, become friends at the end. It's such a personal journey. And I've got this amazing group of women that work with me here, and I feel like we're changing the birth culture in South Florida, and that's the whole reason I got into it.
Yeah, I love that, changing the birth culture in South Florida. That is so powerful, because I know we were talking when Karen, who is the office manager, she reached out to me and she says, with everything's going on, there's some things to share. And I'm so glad she did, because I think it's such an important thing on educating moms to even let them know that this is possible. And one of the things we had talked about is that you were saying with Black moms and everything when they're going through pregnancy. Let's go into that conversation, because I appreciate that you want to have that conversation,
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that.
So, I mean, healthy Black women have a 3 times higher chance of dying in pregnancy and in birth than their white counterparts.
Wow.
We have Black clients that come to us, and they want the touchy feely stuff for labor support, but their big concern from their partners is, can you just make sure that she's okay? Can you keep an eye out? And it's like, it just touches my heart, because this shouldn't be happening, and it's not about socioeconomic group. It's not about anything. Like, college educated Black women have an over 5 times higher chance of dying than college educated white women. Like,
why is that? Let's talk about, because that is mind boggling to me. Yeah.
CDC statistics. And I don't know. I don't think anyone actually knows, but we know that if you have a 5 times higher chance of dying or developing severe complications, we need to watch you closer.
Right.
And there's a distinction between intervening before intervention is needed and these women just having highly medicated births, which is not at all what should be happening, or ignoring the early signs, and then we have something catastrophic happening.
Right.
So exactly. Higher vigilance during pregnancy and birth, and finding the right providers that aren't going to ignore moms, but also aren't going to over intervene,
when something happens or something. Yes. But, I love the fact that, like, you're educating, because to me, a lot of times with doctors going in and being able to basically ask the questions. And I love the fact that what you're creating is this space to say, like, what are the questions that you need? What are the things that you need to do? To me, I just went into the doctor's office. They told me what to do, and there it was. Right. And then the doctor who I met, I was like, oh my gosh, he's horrible. Right. And so those kind of things of what happens when you're in the middle of your pregnancy and you find out you don't really like this doctor. What do you do?
You change. You change, and it's like, this is the thing. A lot of women, they think, there's a misconception that doulas are only for moms that want a natural birth, or, unmedicated, or a home birth, or all that's. Doulas are for anyone. You can have a planned cesarean and have a doula.
Mm-hmm.
The role that we play, at least at the Orchid Nest, is that moms get the type of birth that they want. And that starts with choosing that right provider. So moms sometimes will come to us and they'll say, oh, I'm with Dr. So-and-so, and this is the type of birth that I want. And it's like, I don't want to say they don't serve that dish where you're going.
But if they don't.
Because that was another person telling her what to do, which is not, how is that empowering? Yeah. It's like, listen, these are the questions you need to ask, and not listen to just their answers, but how do you feel as they're answering you? Are they just telling you what they think you want to hear? Or you're like, okay, I authentically feel like they understand what I want, and I'm going to get this particular dish served. For the moms that are with the wrong providers, I never have to say, you need to switch. They'll come back after the next prenatal and go, you know what, Lorie, like, who else? Who do you think would fit? I'm like, awesome. And that I feel like is more empowering than me saying, you need to switch. You're not going to get that. You have an 80% cesarean rate. You're not getting a vaginal birth. You're not getting a natural birth. That's what you want.
Well, and I think that's the thing about it is because a lot of times we don't, and as women, I make up that a lot of times we don't ask the questions regarding our health. We're
Exactly.
afraid to ask certain questions, and that's in all areas to me. And so I love the fact that what you're creating is a space of not just telling them, oh no, don't go there, but you're saying if you're here are some of the things that you want to ask the question of, and then that way, if they're turning around and telling, you can make a decision from that. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I think it is so incredibly vital. Um, what had you back in 1999 just decide like this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to just do something with like I'm going to make sure that 1,500 plus babies are coming into this world because I've seen you with the pictures of at the holidays with all the babies around, right? What
Yeah.
made you decide to do that?
It's such a weird story, Barbara. I was a crime analyst before I became a birth worker. My position was cut in a big budget cut. And so I found myself in this like, what's next? Do I go back to crime analysis with a different agency? And I just, something was like, no. And I came home from work one afternoon, just a job I'd taken. And there was a doula on the news, like being interviewed. And I'd never heard the word doula before. And I wrote it down. I misspelled it. I'm like Googling it, like spelling it all kinds. And I'm like, huh. And it just like, it was like a lightning bolt. I was like, huh, I have to like know more about this. And by the time my husband came home from work, I had signed up for a doula training in Gainesville at the midwifery school. Very unlike me. I'm very analytical. I don't just jump into things. And, it just, I feel like when you're on the path that you're supposed to be on, it doesn't mean you don't have to work hard, but things will just keep showing up for you. And I knew no one in birth. I mean, this is before Facebook. I was like in AOL groups trying to find doulas and Googling, and I found a couple of birth workers in South Florida, and I was so grateful just to have them respond and answer my questions. And doulas were really popular then, but just it kept showing up, and I was getting lots of births and lots of experience. And really, South Florida has historically been a pretty hostile birth environment. Cesarean rates have always been really high and birth satisfaction rates really low. And I just think women deserve an amazing experience. And amazing can look different for a lot of different women.
Exactly.
So like, this is a lifelong experience. I mean, women with Alzheimer's won't remember their children's names or what they had for breakfast, but they can tell you snippets of their births, which just tells you like on a deep level how important that experience is. And so it should always be held in kindness, and it should always feel good. Even if it doesn't go the way you want it to, it can still be positive.
Yeah, I love that.
That's what I want to do. It's not about your natural birth it's not about any of that.
Right. So Allie's watching it. She's like, I interviewed my OBs and I love my doula so much. I wanted to change my career for a minute. The on-call part threw me off. So I didn't think she had the best job in the world. And I love both of my natural births.
The on-call was tough, girl.
Yes, I love that. And Meet's watching and she's like, love you both. What a powerful message. And I think it really is such an incredible message because, and plus, you know what it is? I love the fact of how you started. And I know that what I'm doing kind of now, even with creating this business, is because the job went away and then something happens. And right before you mentioned, you're meant to do this. And when you find your passion, it speaks to your soul, and oh my gosh, I love that. And my dear friend Frankie's like, yes, Lorie was there when Emma was born, the best. And our little Emma, I love her so much.
I know, me too.
And that has to be so incredible. The fact of helping to bring life into this world.
It is. It's just to be able to hold space for moms to step into their power. Again, whatever that looks like, it can look so many different ways, but just to hold the space for that to happen and keep the space safe. Like if they have things that they're important to them, reminding providers like, oh no, she doesn't want that, or oh, this is important to her. And just so she doesn't have to navigate all of that. I mean, in a perfect world, doulas wouldn't be needed. That's the truth. I would love to like retire tomorrow and say like, birth advocates aren't needed, doulas, no one's needed to hold the space. Mom and partner can go to any provider and have this respectful, beautiful experience. We're just really far from that.
Right. And so how are you partnering with certain doctors, with the hospitals? How do you do that?
So, I mean, we don't partner with anyone because we want our affiliation or our allegiance to be only to the client who's hiring us.
Okay.
So we don't have but we do have really great working relationships. And the truth is, good providers like good doulas.
Yeah.
Their job is so much easier. Moms are like, they don't have a lot of questions because their doula's handling all that. They're not anxious because their doula's handling all that. They're laboring them with them at home. They get to the hospital. They have the baby not long after they arrive. It's like good doctors are like, yes, hire a doula. It's a red flag when a doctor's like, oh, you don't need that. I'll be there for you. Like, you don't need all that. They're afraid
when the doctor comes in time to catch.
Exactly.
Catch the baby. Yeah.
We get referrals from, we have a lot of doctors and providers who are like, they call the orchid nest, like take hypnobirthing, like educate yourself. Like if they're really invested in their clients or their patients having a good experience, then they're down with it. I'm like, that's always a positive sign.
Yeah. Well, I like that. And I love what Karen, who is your office manager, said, that empowering women during such a huge milestone for a family, which I think is so important. And you just said something that I thought was interesting. So you work with them at home, like when they're getting ready during labor before they go to the hospital.
Yes, because a lot of, especially, it happens with not just your first baby, but a lot of first-time parents, the minute moms start showing signs of being in labor, their partners are putting them in the car. Like, we need to go to the hospital, because on TV, that's how they portray birth. It's like, everything's an emergency. It's,
yes,
there's for most moms, there's a lot, it's 12 to 14 hours. They statistically, average first-time labor. So we go with mom and labor her at home, and we get there, and partners, like, they relax. We're there, like, okay, the doula's here. She'll tell us when it's time to go. And the truth is, mom will tell you when it's time to go if she feels relaxed and safe, so we do. And that way they're minimizing the amount of time, we're at the hospital before going, before having the baby. And with COVID now, it's even more important to stay home even longer.
Well, that's a great, because right now how are you dealing with this? What's the difference and what things have changed since COVID?
It's really restricted things down. Like, now moms can only have usually one support person. I know in some areas they weren't even allowing even the partner in. New York reversed that and started allowing the partners in. But here, some hospitals will allow the doulas in with the partner. Others, it's just the partner. And it's unfortunate because, these women maybe had planned to have a doula. They had planned to use a labor tub, and those options have been taken away. So it's really changed, options that women have. So for me, it's all the more important for women to be educated, because you may be doing this just you and your partner. So you need to really be educated, and partners really need to be brought up to speed on how to advocate and, for mom in labor and keep her comfortable.
And that's good. You mentioned something. This is very interesting. So you mentioned about the partners. So I'm assuming you also have classes for them which I love that. Okay. Because I know there's certain birthing classes or anything, but I love the fact that you're educating the partner so that they can be a voice also and be part of it, Yeah.
So, I think labor and birth is like an opportunity for couples to deepen their relationship. I really believe that. It's such an intimate experience, whether there's 5 other people in the room or not. It's such an intimate experience. And I think if partners can be part of supporting mom in that way, whether it's rubbing her back or just whispering her ear what she needs to hear, it's such an opportunity for intimacy in labor. And so I want partners to have tools to be able to do that. So even if I'm there, I'm just like, go, this is what you need to do. Like, I can rub her back, or I can tell you what to do, and I'm there being vigilant, but it's such an opportunity for intimacy and for connection, to feel like they actually contributed to her comfort and an amazing experience versus standing in the corner, like rocking.
Rocking and going, I'm feeling faith.
Exactly.
Catch the deck, catch that person right now. And, Frankie Curran just said, and grandparents.
So I taught a grandparents class today, just before this interview. And
oh my gosh,
their children are in labor. It was the maternal and paternal grandparents came to a grandparents class, and it was great.
That's so cute. I love that.
So sweet.
And I can't imagine, because grandparents, you're talking about who've had babies so long ago.
Yeah.
And things have changed so much.
Yes.
And I love that it's a whole family affair that you guys are creating, and that's incredible. So what do you end up teaching grandparents?
So we teach them what the things that have changed. I mean, grandparents want to be like this, and they are the steep well of knowledge and support, and obviously love for their children in a different way, and for this new grandchild. But things have changed. Like, we don't do things the way we did in the 70s and the 80s anymore. And so the kids that are having the kids, the family, they're like, we take a load off of them because we're like, I got you. So we bring them up to date on like, this is what we do. This is how we do baths. This is how we do, this is information about vaccinations. This is information about breastfeeding. So they know how to best support them in a way that, and they're like so grateful. Like the grandparents left today, like, thank you. I had no idea things were so different.
Wow. And I think it's such an incredible thing. And I love, like, I'm literally looking at your website when I looked, and it's orchidnest.com, guys. If you guys are interested, or if you know anyone. I know when my son, when they get married and have a baby, I'll be like, we're going to the Orchid Nest.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
But I think it's so important because you don't even realize all the different things, and your space is so warm and inviting.
Thank you.
I love it there. When I went in, I just was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I think it creates that. So I love that. And when everything, even like your pictures, I mean, you guys have some gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. What is your space created for? Like, when you really think about it, let's talk about.
We want to keep the whole nest theme alive. Like, I think of a nest as being like this cozy space. And so for many families, they're birthing in a hospital and they're going to their doctor and midwife's office, which is very clinical. And so it was really important to us that we created this like really warm, cozy, home-like space that didn't feel antiseptic, and that you felt like you could curl up on the couch and tea, and there's books, and we have beautiful pictures throughout the space that local birth photographers have, provided us, and they really create this beautiful, like, cozy space for families to spend time and educated in and just feel comfortable.
So, hypnobirthing childbirth educator.
Yes. So hypnobirthing, I love hypnobirthing. So it was I think I was a doula for a couple of years when I decided to teach hypnobirthing, and then I became a faculty member and I train people now to teach it. I love it. It's probably the cornerstone of the Orchid Nest. It's what has brought more people in. But it's hypnosis for childbirth. It's a comprehensive childbirth series with a big focus on relaxation and releasing fears. Because let's be honest, most women have a laundry list of fears. Or if you ask them, like, what kind of birth they want, they'll give you all the things that they don't want. It's like, well, what do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? Let's focus on that. And so hypnobirthing kind of like cleans away all of that while providing like really comprehensive information for the partner too. So again, the partner knows how to support mom, knows how to advocate for mom. I love it. We have 5 hypnobirthing teachers here at the Orchid Nest.
Wow.
We do. Yeah, it's just a really big part of what we do. I love
it. I think that it's such an amazing thing. So, and you also do hypnobirthing fertility. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and I'm assuming fertility, trying to have a baby, all that. So please share that.
So we use hypnosis for fertility issues. So it can be, again, for releasing blocks, releasing fears. It can work in conjunction with IVF or for natural fertility. So it's hypnosis specifically for fertility challenges. We work really well with acupuncturists and local reproductive endocrinologists. So it's like a team effort to really provide, again, this almost like the doula support, providing that emotional support that women need for this journey of pregnancy and birth.
Wow, that's amazing. Frankie, again, he's like amazing class. So I love Frankie. He's like your super cheerleader, and I love it because he's a dad who is so involved, and I think that's so incredible.
My heart just explodes with the dads because they come to hypnobirthing class 1 and they're just like, here for another class, seriously, I watch their body language come in like, what is this place, And then, like, by the next time they come in, they're asking all the questions. And I'm like, whoa, I love that growth of understanding the importance of a good birth experience and like what the role is. And I love dads that are like, you have to take hypnobirthing or get a doula. I'm like, yeah. And they would have never spoken anything about any of that before. to other men than they are. And I love
and I think that that's so powerful to do that, and so powerful that like Frankie is sitting here watching going, yes. And Melissa says like, you're the best, which is always, it's always nice to be able, like what you're doing, you know, and what you're creating. And I think that that's such a powerful, powerful thing. And if women are interested, like, you know, if they're coming, they can of course go to your website and they can find out more information about that. I think this whole thing, you know, when we're thinking about with Black Lives Matter and when you're talking about the birth thing, like I didn't know that. I had no idea, but then I would read certain things and it would be happening. And so it makes you wonder, like, what is going on?
What is going on? And the thing is, like, according to the CDC, 60% of those deaths could have been prevented. 60%.
Wow.
So, you know, we get to pay more attention. You know, we need more Black birth workers.
Yes.
I've been saying for years, like we need more Black women to get in there and do what I'm doing within communities and really like elevate birth experiences, because something's going very wrong.
Right. And, you know, I love that, because I think with if Black Lives Matter has also brought so much up to the table. So I look forward to seeing women who might look at this and say, wait a minute, I want to know more, because you watch the television show and all of a sudden you're like, I want to do that. And then you moved on it, you know?
If I can inspire one woman to say, like, I want to become a birth worker, it's like, call me. I train doulas. I can hook you up. It's like, I would love to see more. I mean, we have Black families that come into our center and ask, like, do you have a Black doula? Until recently, my answer was no. Not for lack of, I of course I want more doulas. I want, absolutely. But the women aren't taking the training. So how can I inspire these rates to increase? And so if one Black woman, hey, you like do it. If this work speaks to you, the on-call life is tough, but there's nothing, I can't imagine not doing this. I can't. I don't do the births that I used to do as far as numbers, but I can't imagine not ever going to a birth again.
That's amazing. So one of the things I always do is I always ask questions, because it's something that I love to get in the heads of each person who comes onto the show. So I know.
I'm like, oh, where are we going? I don't know, Barbara.
You're like, this was really easy up until this point. Where
we go?
Really simple. What is your vision?
My vision is that my work is obsolete. That birth is respectful and kind for every woman on the planet and for every baby on the planet.
I love that. Yeah. So in the next 45 days, what will you create?
Gosh, we just reopened after COVID, so that was fun.
I can imagine.
I will create a doula training for minority women online, so they don't have to even be local. They can be anywhere.
I love that. I think that is such as you know, being a woman of color. I think it's so important, and I love the fact that you know, putting that out there. That's why I ask these questions, because you never know where something is going to come from. Anya said she loved having her home birth, and Frankie says abundance, because Frankie's always there supporting.
Frankie.
Yeah, I know. I just love him so much.
Me too.
What is your biggest hurdle to climb in whatever it is?
Just getting the word out. You know, people don't know what they don't know. And I still think there's this implicit trust in providers to obviously steer you in the right direction. And there are providers that absolutely do that. And there are a lot of providers that don't. And I just want women to have the confidence to trust themselves, to ask all of the questions. You just can't blindly trust.
And you know, and that's one of the reasons why we do I Am This Woman, is because we really want to get the word out to women all over. Like, whoever might be watching, you never know. And someone could just say, you know, I can tell you when the time comes for my son's girlfriend, like when they get married and have a baby, that it's like, ask the questions. No, so now I know this. That's gonna totally different. You know, I'll be
Yeah,
there for the grandparents extraordinary, you know, class. I want,
absolutely, Barbara. I gotcha.
I want you to change the name. Barbara has a grandparents extraordinary class.
I like it better than grandparents refresher. It's kind of vanilla now.
I love it. So one of the big things back in January when Kobe Bryant passed away, and he had created a legacy. I've never been a big fan because I don't do basketball, but I noticed after he died, his last 3 years were major, and he did probably more in 3 years than most people do in a lifetime. What would your legacy be that you would want to create and leave for the world?
That this work continues until it can be obsolete. That young birth workers, you know, like I'm 20 years in now. Like, I mean, at some point I won't be going to births. I'll still be in the corner, you know. But I want young birth workers, and that's my team is they're great, and I just want more of that all over the country, not just in South Florida, but that literally everywhere this will be available to women, you know. Yeah, I mean that's my legacy is
Love
this is top. And we've changed the South Florida birth culture. I know that we have.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of that. And we have more work to do.
So much more to do.
So much more to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it too, because Anya says empowering more women that, yes, they can have a beautiful birth on their terms. It's not just about birthing a baby, but birthing a mother.
Yes, Anya, absolutely.
Wow. That's powerful. I love the fact of birthing a mother, because I think, you know, you go and you carry this baby and then you have a baby and then you're sent home and people are there for a little bit. And then all of a sudden
They
it's like,
disappear.
yes. So that's a great question. What happens when everybody leaves and there is mom and the baby, and what happens? Do you offer things after that?
So we have postpartum doulas. So in South Florida, you know, it's such a transient area. A lot of families here don't have their families here. So they don't have extended family to help them with the baby. And so we have postpartum doulas that will go in and do shifts with mom, whether it's during the day or overnight, not necessarily to take care of the baby, but to take care of mom. So she can take care of her baby and provide her with tips and all of that. So they sort of work themselves out of a job. You know, we're like, I've got this now. But I mean, the bigger goal really is that moms feel supported enough in pregnancy and empowered enough to feel comfortable being like, I've got this, you know, you know, that they feel confident and empowered. I think that's where the birth, I love what Anya said about birthing a mother, you know, if a woman has an empowered experience, it doesn't have to look a certain way. But if she feels empowered by her birth experience, how can she not feel empowered as a mother and as a woman in general? Or will she feel the opposite of that, which breaks my heart? It's such an opportunity.
It really is. And I love it. And I always say, I really believe women are like the cornerstones of communities in the world, because they literally, besides creating life, they, you know, they are such where in Greece is this amazing statue, and the statue is these women and they're holding up this building. And I always imagine like women holding up the world, because that to me is exactly what that is. So that's something that's so important. So I believe like that's what you're creating.
Yes.
You're creating that. And I love that. I really, really do. And then Anya said again, she's like, yes, Lord, that's so important, since most don't have the generational support, because we are just, you know, we are such a transit kind of thing. So how do you keep a positive mindset?
I mean, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel there's days I wake up, if I'm being honest, that I feel like this is an uphill battle. I keep a positive mindset by looking at all that's been accomplished so far, and not because of me, just because of families. Once they're educated, they're the ones changing policies in hospitals. It's not me. It's them going in demanding change. And so I just look back and go like, listen, all of these things have happened because of education. So here we go. And we just keep going. It's really all of these changes, all of these positive changes are because of families. Once they know what's possible and what they want, they get clear on it. Hospitals are just, it's a consumer-based business.
There you go.
If you ask for it, they will serve it up.
Exactly, and enough. And I want you to acknowledge yourself, because I'm going to tell you like this. I get it that once they know, but you've created the space for them to know.
Well, thank you.
And, you know, and that's one of those big things. I am just so excited that, number one, you came on the show. What is the last thing that you want to leave people with? What is that thing that you're like, please think about this, or whatever it is?
You know, if you're pregnant or you're planning to become pregnant, ask questions, listen to your gut, start to discover what kind of birth you want. Like, what do you want this to look like? And ask the questions of the providers. Like, don't feel intimidated. Like, step into your birth experience feeling positive and feeling empowered. And if you don't know the right questions to ask, then call the Orchid Nest. We're not out to sell you everything. Like, I'll happily answer your email and give you questions to ask your provider. Like, I want you to end up where you need to be, not by default.
Exactly. Well, I just appreciate you being on the show. One of the things we always ask the women to do at the end, or anyone who's on the show, is to say your name and say, I am this woman. So if you could do that for me.
I'm Lorie, and I am this woman.
Yes, you are. So, guys, if you're looking at this show and you're like, this is awesome, and I would love to be on this show, please do me a favor. You see those things, ticker scrolling at the bottom. Show guests at IamThisWoman.com. Send us an email to say, I have something to say. I have something to share. This is really a space for women to come on and share it. Like Lorie, she might make a difference. Sometimes all you need to do is make the difference in one person's life who can maybe help someone else. So that's something that's super important. And if you're like, Barbara is so cool, and I just want to talk to her, just send me an email to Barbara@IamThisWoman.com, and please do that. Wait a minute, Anya has do you at the Orchid Nest provide full midwifery services as well?
No, Anya, we don't provide any medical services, so we're that different piece. Like, you need a midwife or a doctor.
Okay, that's perfect. And then I'm working on a book. So if you're interested in sharing your story, because Karen Coonan just said yes to me, so she's going to be part of the book, but send an email to book@IamThisWoman.com. And as we're building out the website and building out our brand and our classes and everything we're doing, we're always looking for bloggers to share stories. Lorie, if you have any stories, because women who might be looking at, on our website, please blog at IamThisWoman.com. Yeah, we'd love to have something from you. And anyone who's watching, I always say this with everything that's going on right now, and even if it's not going on, take care of each other, love each other, honor each other. And, Lorie, even she's teaching us something, no matter where you're at, ask the questions, like empower yourself to ask the right questions. And Lorie, just for all of these babies that you brought in to help bring into the world, and for who you are, we say thank you. Thank you for being brave and coming on here, because I know this is not your jam.
Not my jam at all. No.
And you rocked it. You did. You did so well. When you're passionate about what you're doing, it becomes your jam. So, I'll keep this side, but anytime else you want to,
you stay in your house, I'll stay in the dark in mine. I'm better in the dark.
But anytime you want to come on and share anything with us, please, you always have a seat at our table. So thank you. And guys, hey, I am always so thankful for all the support and the love. I am Barbara Ford, founder of I Am This Woman, and I am definitely this woman. Thanks so much. See you guys this week. Bye.
Bye.